Hi everyone. So I have not done a reading or a book wrap up for a while now. And so since I have a few minutes here outside, I decided why not stop and do it now. So I believe these are going to be books 17 through 22. Usually I've been doing just 4 books in my wrap ups, but this time I'm going to be doing 6 since 2 of them are really, really small. So the first book that I read was a manga version of Stitch, Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. Apparently he's got his own manga series now. It is Stitch's adventures in Japan. I cannot remember the girl's name that he is with. Lilo does make an appearance, as does some of the other characters later on in the book, but it's mainly about this new girl discovering Stitch and his life in Japan. It was cute. I would say to pick it up if you're a Stitch fan. I love Lilo and Stitch. It's one of my favorite movies. There wasn't nothing too special or spectacular about it. It was a cute book. The next one is, I believe it's called Bureau of Bad Guys, which is a Powerpuff Girls comic. And this is all the villains of the Powerpuff Girls telling the story of how they almost defeated the Powerpuff Girls. This one I liked a little bit more than the Stitch one, just because it kind of stuck with the theme. And I'm more used to the version of Stitch that I know from, the movies and everything. Whereas the Powerpuff Girls comic seemed a little bit more closer to the show. And the next one,
I'm all the way to the end.
Then the next book is The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, which is a Goosebumps book. I don't think if I have read this one, it was probably not one that I remembered from being a child. Nothing about it really stuck out to me that I would have remembered reading it. I did enjoy the book. I got tired of kind of watching the episode. I don't know. It's one of those ones that aren't rewatchable for me, but I did enjoy the book. I don't know if I'd call it one of my absolute favorites. It's rereadable. So basically it is about a boy who, it's his birthday, and his sister is always ruining things. She ruins his birthday. Later on, his father gets this cuckoo clock, and the cuckoo clock turns out to be magical. It can change time, or it can go back in time. Basically, he changes the clock and he goes back to being younger and younger and younger, to the point where he's almost an infant. And then, well, as you can guess, he has to figure out a way to get back to the clock to keep from not being born.
Your bunny ear, Mom.
Okay, yeah.
I'm doing good. I've tried, Mom.
Nate's there being kind of silly. Yeah. Okay, he says hi, everyone. And then the next book is... The next one is also a Goosebumps book, and it is Be Careful What You Wish For. This one I liked a little bit better. It's maybe one of the lighter ones. It's very different in a lot of ways from the episode. The episode is very over the top. The characters are quite over the top, whereas in the book they seem a little bit more just like normal teenagers and everything. But basically it is the story of a girl. Her name is Samantha Bird, because she has an enemy, a bully, who always picks on her and calls her bird and tells her to fly away. And then one day Sam helps this lady out with directions or something, and the lady turns out to be, I guess you would say, magical in a way. I don't know if you'd call her a witch or something like that, but she basically grants Sam wishes, and as you may have guessed, the wishes don't go exactly how Sam wanted them to go, and hence it's called Be Careful What You Wish For. The episode ending is pretty much completely different, like the very, very ending, from what happens in the book. The book ending is scarier in a way. I mean, scary as a Goosebumps book can get. But yeah, I really liked that one. I did like Cuckoo Clock of Doom. I liked it a little bit better than the episode, and that just might be because I've seen the episode a lot. And it just feels like one of those that takes a while, and then Be Careful What You Wish For, like I said, is kind of over the top. I love the Goosebumps series, but it is kind of like way out there. Most of the time, the books are definitely better, and they're quite different a lot of the time, which is odd because the books aren't that long. They need that kind of change. And then the next one I read is Divergent, which is the first book in the Divergent trilogy. I started reading Divergent before, and then I had to take it back, and I never went back to it. But I mean, I like most of the dystopian series that I've read. As you know, I'm a huge Hunger Games fan. I love The Giver. I enjoyed 1984 and Animal Farm, and I read Unwind, another series I have to finish at some point. So why not try Divergent? I thought the concept was interesting. Basically, it is about a girl named Triss who lives in a futuristic Chicago. Can't remember how many times Chicago was actually mentioned, but she lives in a futuristic Chicago where people are divided into factions based around this test, like this personality test. And there are, I believe, 5 factions. So there is Candor, which is the honest, Dauntless, which is the brave, Abnegation, which is the peaceful, Erudite, which is the intelligent, and she lives in Abnegation. No, wait, did I say Abnegation? No, yeah, if I said it wrong, Amity is the peaceful people, and she lives in Abnegation, which is the faction of selflessness. And each live basically by their personality, their virtue, whatever you want to call it. So in Abnegation, she is not allowed to celebrate her birthday. I don't think she even truly knows when her birthday is, because celebrating birthdays are considered self-centered. They wear gray. She's never had a hamburger before. They always eat plain things. They always give up things because they believe basically these people believe that the world went to crap because people didn't hold certain values. And so at the age of 16, they take a test that's supposed to tell them,
I'm in a water bottle.
Okay, that is supposed to tell them what faction they belong into. And if I remember correctly, they can either choose that faction or they can remain with their faction of their parents. If something happens, so basically, you go to your choosing ceremony, and then you go to the faction, and they put you through test. And if you don't pass that test, you are basically factionless, which is kind of like basically being homeless and being without a group. So, of course, because she is our white dystopian protagonist, um, Triss, her name is Beatrice, but she changes it to Triss. She picks Dauntless, which is the um, faction of the brave. Basically, they are the police, military people who do crazy things. One of the initiation things, or one of the things that get started for the initiation process into Dauntless, is to basically jump off a moving train. So, and then of course there's corruption within the factions and all this other stuff. I found it really entertaining. I can see how some people might not believe that some things would be believable, but considering the fact of the things that we have segregated people on, it's not far-fetched to think that somebody would think that's a good idea. And then finally, I believe this is the last book. Finally, I'm going to talk about Scarlet. Scarlet is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles, which the Lunar Chronicles is a series that is retellings of fairy tales. So Cinder, as you could probably guess, was Cinderella, and the story continues on from Cinder. So it's kind of hard to talk about it without spoiling Cinder, I guess, but basically Cinder is a cyborg in a world where cyborgs are kind of second-class citizens in a way. People have like a lot of prejudice against them, and things happen to Cinder in the book Cinder with Prince Kai, who is the prince of the, I believe it's called the Eastern Asian Commonwealth. Basically, a lot of countries are kind of run by a single government, and it's like people in more rulers of like most or entire continents and stuff like that, because it's way into the future. And so the story is continuing with Cinder on the run because she is being followed by like royal officials, because the Lunar Queen basically wants her dead. And then we get into, well, actually the story starts, but again, like I'm saying, it continues with Cinder, so she's still a part of the story. And then we meet Scarlet, who is a girl in France whose grandmother has been kidnapped, and she doesn't know who kidnapped her. Her father is kind of like an estranged father. He doesn't really take care of her. She basically lives with her grandmother, and she finds out that he was kidnapped by the same people that took her grandmother, and they want information that they believe she knows. And then it's told in different, like, it's all third person point of view, but you hear Cinder's story continuing on from being on the run from the Lunar Queen and people who want her arrested, because the Lunar Queen wants to wage war against Earth and everything, because she wants Cinder, but you'll have to read the first book to find out why and everything. But then we have Scarlet, who is searching for her grandmother and meets like this street fighter named Wolf, which, Scarlet is Little Red Riding Hood, basically, hanging with a guy named Wolf, searching for her grandmother. So that's kind of where the twist comes in. Cinder is that, she was adopted and everything from like Europe, and her stepmom, it's actually her adopted mom, pretty much treats Cinder like crap. So you got Cinder, who is trying to get to a place to keep herself safe, and then Scarlet, who is trying to find her grandmother and trying to find answers. And of course it comes that one person knows this and this person is connected to that. There's a lot going on in these books. I will say that I do see the point when people say that the Lunar Chronicles are kind of predictable. Like, Cinder is very predictable, but it's so much fun. I really like the characters. It really kept me engaged, and it kept me just wanting to read/listen, whatever the hell I was doing at that point. But, yeah. I really like this book. I think I liked it a little bit more than Cinder, and Cinder was really good. I want to say that maybe Scarlet was a little less predictable than Cinder was. But, hi, sweetie. But I just enjoyed both of them. I really enjoyed both Scarlet and Divergent. Those were probably my favorites out of these last, like, 6 reads. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I know this got long. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.